This little girl was sent to prison. In fact, another 80,000 children, like her, were uprooted from their homes. They were imprisoned at desolate camps scattered throughout the American West. The children and their families, 120,000 people in all, were loyal U.S. citizens. They owned businesses, paid taxes, raised families, and were proud Americans. In some cases, family members were separated. So why were they imprisoned without trial or hearing? What was their crime? They happened to be Japanese Americans living on the West Coast shortly after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii on December 7, 1941. These hard-working Japanese American citizens were as stunned by the attack as the rest of the country. But the U.S. government questioned their loyalty, and within hours of the invasion, FBI agents began searching homes, rounding up anyone of Japanese descent. Within 48 hours after the attack on Pearl Harbor, 1,291 Japanese were in custody. Italian Americans and German Americans were not incarcerated, even though we were at war with Italy and Germany too. Signs sprung up in cities across the West. Japs keep out. Japanese businesses, homes, and cemeteries were vandalized. Wartime hysteria and prejudice fueled the anger. Japanese Americans responded with their own signs. I am an American. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, also known as FDR, told the nation, December 7, 1941, is a day that will live in infamy. 2.5 months later, FDR signed Executive Order 9066, giving the Army the power to establish military camps in the United States. Japanese Americans closed their businesses, left their schools, jobs, homes, and friends. They took few items with them for their new life in these internment camps. They moved into barracks called blocks and tried to make their life as normal as possible. Kids went to camp school where they were taught about American democracy and freedom. They had to recite their loyalty oaths and pledges of allegiance to America. Imagine learning about freedom in a school surrounded by barbed wire and guarded by soldiers in towers with guns for almost 4 years. Were they receiving the liberty and justice guaranteed to all Americans? The end of the wartime relocation was in December 1944. It was difficult for many Japanese Americans to adjust to a normal life after leaving the camps. War with Japan ended on August 14, 1945. Almost 50 years later, Congress passed the Civil Liberties Act of 1988. President Reagan signed it into law. This bill admitted that grave injustice was done and paid each living victim $20,000 in reparations. President George Bush included a letter of apology along with the money. Reparation, payment for past wrongs, ended in August of 1998, 56 years after the incarceration. It is important to study our history. We do not want to repeat past mistakes.